Welcome back to Big Red Weekly, everybody. My name is Daniel, and let's get back to it. Let's talk about the Milwaukee Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets. Game 7 was last night. This is like the third or fourth time I've tried to record this video, so let's hope that I like this version the best. So I think this was a great way to end the series. This Game 7, my biggest fear for Game 7 was that it was going to be like a blowout by one team that, maybe Giannis was going to fold in this game, or maybe the Brooklyn Nets were going to fold in this game, and that one team was just going to be ahead the whole game, and then you kind of knew who was going to win the entire game. But this game was fantastic because it really just came down to the wire. Right off the bat in the first quarter, I mean, it was just an exchange of buckets. I mean, that's how it was the entire game. The Milwaukee Bucks kind of made it hard on themselves. Second quarter, they settled a lot for a lot of contested shots. They didn't feel like making that extra pass. They weren't moving the ball enough to really look for a lot of open shots. The Nets made a nice little run in the second quarter. They were looking for open shots. They were moving the ball pretty well. And so at the end of the first half, the score was 47-53. The Nets were up. That had a lot to do with the little run that they were doing. But there was some decent defense from both teams. Now, obviously, when it comes to both of these teams, obviously with the Bucks, when they had PJ Tucker on KD, you have a lot of great perimeter defense, but the Nets did pretty well to try and stop Giannis when they could. Obviously, Giannis still had 40, but Giannis hit a couple threes. That was the other thing I was really scared about in this game. Giannis started really wanting to hit some jumpers in this game. I was really hoping he didn't settle. He ended up going 2 for 6 from three, so it's not. I mean, I guess if he's gonna shoot, that's kind of where you'd want him to be. So I guess I can't be totally, mad, but obviously you don't want Giannis to be shooting 6 threes a game. Maybe two at most, but those wouldn't have been the two that he that he made, because I don't think he made. No, I think he made his first three of the game, so he should have just stopped there. I think he would have been 100%. But uh, this, but really, I think it didn't start really becoming a game, I think, until the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter, immediately it got chippy. Guys were pushing each other. Guys are really digging up this time, and I mean it was great. It really came down to the last shot. So man, how did that last shot go? I think the Bucks should have won this um, in regular overtime, but it's cool. But I mean, in the regulation, but heading over to overtime, I I really thought the Bucks were going to fold in overtime, and they even looked like they were about to fold. There was uh, one of it was one of the first couple possessions. I think it was around 4.5 minutes, maybe 4 minutes. Um, you could just tell the Nets got three or four different offensive rebounds. It probably wasn't like four; it was probably like two. Um, I had to exaggerate in there because I can't remember, but the Bucks got out rebounded on like two or three different offensive rebound or for them defensive rebounds, and Nets didn't. I don't think, if I recall, the Nets didn't really capitalize on that possession, but it was just kind of it gave you the feeling that the Milwaukee Bucks were starting to collapse, and then the Bucks really they hit the Nets with two really good plays. Giannis came down. They gave him the ball. It was an and one. He came down and was able to hit his free throw. Chris Middleton, that next possession, if I remember correctly, he hit a three, so that ended up putting the Nets up the Bucks up by, I know, was it a two? It was a two or three. I can't remember. Um, I can't remember if it was a two or three. It might have been two. Now that I'm really thinking about it, but it was really both those plays were crucial to keep the Bucks alive in overtime. And then Kevin Durant's not human, man, but he was probably like an inch off, maybe, from ending the Bucks series, but couldn't do it. He couldn't. He couldn't. It was sad, but and then who ended up coming down and hitting that last shot? Because then that put Milwaukee up two, and then that's when KD went for the dub, but he ended up airballing, so Milwaukee ended up winning by two. So this was a great game. I mean, I can't have asked for a better game seven because, like I said before, I was really scared that one team was really just going to pull away, and that just didn't happen. This entire game was about each team made a little run, but the other team would match it. So if Milwaukee Bucks went on like a little 5-7 point run, the Nets would match it, and then if the Nets went on like like a little 5-6 point lead, the Bucks would come back in and catch it, and it was great. Both teams fought till the end. The officiating in this game was a little to be desired. I mean, it was a little lacking. It's just not consistent. I thought there was a couple different plays where the refs knew that they messed up, and they tried to make a call to like correct what they did. Like I think on that PJ Tucker one when Blake Griffin was kind of grabbing him and PJ hit his hand away and they called the foul on PJ Tucker. I think like right after, not too long after, they called a foul on Blake Griffin. I think because they wanted to because they knew they kind of messed up in that call. And it was just like there was a couple stuff like that. There's a lot of inconsistent calls, and that's kind of how this whole series went. Some games they let them play. There are some possessions even in this game where you could tell it got physical, which is fine. I'm not against a physical game, but if you're gonna call some fouls and not others, then there's got to be some kind of consistency. I don't feel like the refs are consistent at all, especially when they're in different cities. I feel like even just the fact that whenever they're in Milwaukee or whenever they're in Brooklyn, even that almost gets officiated differently. So I don't know. I think that definitely needs to be discussed. Overall, I think the NBA has just a bad officiating problem. Not a bad officiating problem, but there's just no consistency at all anywhere in this league, and I think that's just what there needs to be. I don't know how you start to attain consistency, but the refs got to sit down, the NBA's got to sit down. They just got to have a meeting about it. But anything else to talk about in this game? Brook Lopez had a really great game. He had 19 points and like 8 rebounds or something like that. He was hitting his outside shots. He was 3 or 4. He continued on from the last game. He was really able to step up in the pick and rolls and everything, and he was playing some decent defense. But obviously, when you're Kevin Durant coming off that screen and he hits the shot, can't really do much because it's Kevin Durant. He's gonna hit those kinds of shots. But Drew Holiday couldn't hit a shot to save his life in this game, except when it mattered. So I can't hate on Drew Holiday that much. He went 2 of 9 from 3, but I mean, it's completely insane. All the threes that he really should be hitting, he was just missing brick. There was one that he hit the side of the backboard. I think it was in the first half, and it was just like, man, you gotta hit that. I mean, you gotta at least hit rim, not the side of the backboard. But we hit 2 threes. One was towards right at the end of the fourth quarter. That helped keep the Bucks alive. That either tied the game or put them up 3 or 2, or it was somewhere in that ballpark. That kind of scenario. And then he hit a 3 in overtime, I believe. That might have been what put the Bucks up by 2 at the end. But I mean, Drew Holiday hit them when it mattered, so I can't hate on that. He was clutch with them with the ones that he the ones that he hit. So this game was great. I can't hate on this game at all. I loved watching this game. I wasn't even really nervous until the fourth quarter, because like I was waiting for one team to pull away in the first three quarters, and I just didn't get that. So I was kind of just sitting there like, all right, I don't know what's really going to happen. I'm just going to keep paying attention. And then the Bucks went on a good little run in the third quarter, but the problem is the Nets kept hitting shots as well, so they kept it in the game. No team, every run was matched by another run by the other team. So this is great. I think Brooklyn's going to be fine overall. I think they're just going to try and get healthy, keep their guys, and I think they're just going to run it back next season. They have no reason not to. Their team wasn't healthy in this series, so there's no reason why they wouldn't try and run it back next year and make sure their guys are fully healthy and, really go for an actual shot for the championship. But for the Bucks, I was scared for the Bucks a little bit in this series. They managed to pull it off. I think that's just, their guys doing what they have to do, but I'm kind of scared. I think they can get out of the East. I think the Bucks definitely could. Maybe not against Philly. I think Philly's got a lot of great defense for Giannis to not let him get into the middle. But I think if they first face Atlanta, they're definitely going to the finals. But Philly, it could definitely be a toss-up. But Budenholzer has got to definitely make sure that he's making the proper adjustments and he gets his guys through. But because that man looks like he doesn't know what he's doing like half the time. I know that he does kind of know what he's doing, but he just looks lost, I feel like, when the camera pans to him during a game. But that's none of my concern. I'm not an NBA coach. I'd like to be, but I'm not. So that I really have no say in something like that. I'm not smarter than an NBA coach when it comes to the game of basketball. Anything else that I kind of forgot to mention? No. Kevin Durant, I mean, tough last couple shots. Like I said, he was an inch away from ending the Bucks season, and he unfortunately then airballed the last shot. So you're probably going to hear the narrative that Kevin Durant's not clutch anymore because he couldn't make that final shot. But he had 48. There's not much more you can ask of that man. But it's going to be the same kind of thing when you talk about Kevin Durant or LeBron. If they lose, regardless of the stat line that they put up, there's going to be a label. There's going to be a label on it, regardless. So can't ever escape that. I don't think that way, but that's what you're going to start to probably hear in the next day or two. But hopefully not. But if you appreciate the content, please like and subscribe. Any obviously positive feedback is welcome, but constructive criticism is also welcome. I'm going to be looking for different equipment to be recording with. So if you have any recommendations, please let me know. Thanks for watching, everybody. See ya.